The New York Jets win, baby! Let's go! So, first of all, there is a lot that we're going to talk about here this afternoon. This is a tremendous day. This is a very good day. It's a beautiful day. It is, the Waddle Walk. So, we have a wonderful day for you. We got a wonderful show for you here. So, first of all, I'm opening up today because if you recall from last week's podcast, my main man's Woody came in here with a lot to dish off with a lot of things that we did not do too well in the past. And the data showed it. And Woody is about to break down some of the most tremendous comebacks that we've had. This was one of the best weeks of football in an in-division game or otherwise that we've had in a very long time. Woody broke it down before the game, and Woody's about to break down how we came over so much bad data that we had on our side. So, Woody, handing it to you. Tell us how good we did from a statistical standpoint, baby. Let's go.
I'll tell you one thing. Fitz lost his voice, but the Jets did not lose this game, okay? There are streaks that have been broken. Every streak has been broken. So I already told my wife. My wife was happy, but she was kind of sad. It was a bittersweet moment because as of now, my next born child, boy or girl, doesn't matter. Saleh Wudi is in the works, okay? Because every streak that I mentioned in the Wudi 3 was broken. Let's get to it, okay? 12 straight divisional losses. The AFC East, 12 straight, gone, eradicated. Okay, haven't beaten a divisional leader since since week 1 of 2017. Gone. Okay, 3 straight L's at home. We were winless at home. Gone. We won at MetLife Stadium. 11. This was the one I hated so bad. 11 wins. It was 2019, the last time that we won by more than 7 points. Bro, we just put up 40. Okay, we put up 40. We won by 23. Gone. Okay, let's talk about 22 straight games without winning 2 in a row. Gone. All right, this one, the mainstream media keeps talking about 23 straight games with losing, right? We're losing for 23 straight games. The second best, right, or the second worst has 9, right? And they're talking about how bad the Jets are. Gone. We led this the whole way through. Sauce Gardner with that safety, we led this the whole way through. Oh, you thought we were done? No, 62 games without even scoring 40 points. Gone. And this is the first time that the New York Jets, baby, are up above 500 since week 1 of the 2018 season. I mean, that's eight streaks that just showed the perpetual ineptitude of this franchise. And now, as my man is waving, swinging around like a helicopter, the New York Jets, I'm telling you something right now, they are not trash at all. They're not trash. And dare I say, they are a good football team with good players. We already knew that. And good coaching. I think we just discovered that. They're not the same old Jets. All right? Throw away that tagline. Throw away that sentence. Throw away that belief. Throw away your Darnold jerseys. Throw away your Le'Veon Bell jerseys. Throw away any jersey that you have that's not of this regime because these are not the same old Jets. Michael Carter is not the same old Jet. Breece Hall's not the same old Jet. Elijah Moore is not the same old Jet. Zach Wilson is not the same old Jet. And you best believe every single person on that defense, Quan Alexander, you think he's the same old Jet? He is not, okay? He is not. Sauce Gardner is not the same old Jet. These boys, all gas, no brakes. Take those receipts, man. Take those receipts. Call us CVS because we taking every single receipt.
So, Woody, that was a tremendous breakdown. I loved how you broke into all the things that we were so bad at. And this is, All these things, we could talk about the data all we want, which you just did tremendously. And that is something that is indicative of what we're doing. But at the same time, there's been a feel of it. In addition to what you just said today, there's been a feel of it. We always showed up like, God, it's Sunday. We got to play football. We are finally coming to a spot where, like, I'm excited on Sundays to see this team. And, so I think there's a couple things that we need to go and talk about here. All right. I've got two things that I am going to break down here myself, because you did a tremendous job breaking that down, and I've got something here. So first of all, if we go and look at Teddy Bridgewater going down in the first play of the game with a safety, that to many would be a takeaway from how good this game was. It's like, all right, he did against the third string quarterback. Congratulations. And I do hear that argument. However, Sauce Gardner hit him so hard. Our defense showed up so hard that we took their quarterback out to go and like take away from our win, because we did it against their third string. Their third string was only in because we hit the crap out of them. We hit that guy. And like, that's going to be a part of the talking points. We're going to see the ESPN spin zone. Disney's going to come in and go and do their defense of their state ally there in Miami. They could do that all they want to. The Jets won this game. And not only did we win this game, we beat the crap out of them. And Woody, thank you so much for bringing up all that data there, because that was very important. My second point is not as positive. For us to do what we did here, and for Zach Wilson to throw the ball 21 times in a 40-17 win, 21 times, for us to rush the ball with our actual running backs, just our running backs, 28 times. Michael LaFleur, we could be 4-1 right now. I'm not going to try to go and obsess over the past, but like, what the hell were we thinking? This is living proof that we have tremendous running back. Breece Hall, that kid is so freaking good, Woody. Oh my gosh.
He is.
For him to be our fourth pick of the draft last year, and for him to be cementing himself as an absolute bona fide stud, almost 3 yards short of 200 overall yards today. To see that, it really it kills me. I think that Ravens game was winnable, and I think other loss. Who we lose?
The Bengals.
The Bengals. Both those games were winnable if you don't throw the ball 60 freaking times. 60 times. Are they crazy? So Mike LaFleur, he is coming back. He did this last season too, as we've talked about. He started a little bit slow. He figured it out, and we got the game plan here today. It worked out very well, 40-17. Couldn't be happier. But if we are going to keep all of our coaches and our players accountable, which we've talked about and you need to do, Mike LaFleur, he hurt us in those two losses that we've had so far.
All right. Well, let me defend my man. Mike Lasceiling. All right, because this game was the best O-line performance we've had. Dwayne Brown was back, the veteran. Okay, the Pro Bowler, Dwayne Brown. He made his season debut, and they were abusing Miami on the left side. And Tomlinson had his best game as a result, right? All that uncertainty with the left and everything that was going on. And AVT did a great job last week. So I'm not saying that, but it just seemed like Tomlinson finally found his footing next to Dwayne, and they were abusing that left side. So they were able to run. Okay. And Breece showed, receiving, rushing. The boy had almost 200 all-purpose yards. This boy is special. And I won't even deny it. I was driving home from Fitz's, right, in the car. Fitz calls me, he says, hey, by the way, our second round pick, of the NFL draft. I said, oh, yeah, Nakobe Dean, right? Nakobe Dean? He said, no, it's Breece Hall, the running back. And I almost crashed my car. I was like, what are you going on?
He was shook.
I was so mad, but I see what they were trying to do. And that was the draft. I said this actually in my draft grades, that this was a draft, or that was a pick that defined this draft, because they were saying, okay, we are going to give Zach everything he needs. All right, so we are guaranteeing a great running back tandem. Michael Carter is a very good running back. He was very elusive. He had 2 TDs. He did work for my fantasy team. All right, Michael Carter is perfectly fine. But Breece is bigger, stronger, faster, quicker. I mean, when he has the ball in his hands, he's electric. And we saw it. We seen it. And now we have a 2-headed rushing attack, and our O-line is back to par. It's not at full strength. We will be at full strength. Max Mitchell will come back. Fant will come back. But right now, how it looked today, we can do serious work against defensive lines all across the NFL.
You're absolutely right. And what to build off of what you just said, what I liked about what I saw today was I feel like we got not necessarily a perfect performance of this, but I feel like we saw a combination of what we saw in Tennessee last year, or against Tennessee last year, where Zach showed so much confidence getting out of the pocket. I mean, Zach was, if we're going to go and look at Zach's best games and break it down to in the pocket, out of the pocket was in Tennessee. I mean, out of the pocket in Tennessee last year, Zach Wilson was incredible. Last year in the pocket, Tampa Bay, that guy was so good in the pocket. He just looked confident. And since last week against the Steelers and this week, this Zach Wilson, the amount of time that he spends in the pocket, I don't necessarily love or hate, but it's the confidence. This is feel. I mean, I feel like he feels the pressure coming, and he knows when he has to get the ball off, and he does not do it too soon. He doesn't do it too late. And his just confidence in the pocket has looked tremendous last week to this week. And there's definitely things he could build on. There's a couple decisions that he made that were not perfect. However, him in the pocket has been so good. Him escaping, he had one low ball to, I think it was Conklin, when he was running outside of the pocket today. But overall, Zach's performance was very good. Not perfect, definitely things to work on, but he was very good. The defense came to play today. I mean, the amount of expectations that we had to put on this defense, obviously we started against Teddy Bridgewater. I was not worried about him at all. You can go back to last week's, Take Flight Talk to go and hear what my points on that. I was not worried about Teddy Bridgewater. Bringing in this kid, this young man, what the hell is his name? Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, Skylar something.
He was not terrible. For a third-string guy who's never played a snap in the NFL, he wasn't terrible. But he did not do remotely close to what he needed to do to get the win here. And I just want to say one last thing before I hand it over to Woody. And this is going to be a little bit of a slight, Woody, so buckle your seatbelts up. we spoke on Thursday. Woody is a bright guy. And the reaction that he had when I said Tyreek is going to be held under 50, if you recall, he took a sip of water and he nearly spat it out when I said Tyreek is going to be under 50. 47 yards for Tyreek Hill against my boys, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. Woody, I would never in a million years go in and bring this up just to do a victory lap on you. I'm doing this to do a victory lap for both of us. This is a victory lap for the New York Jets franchise. We kept Tyreek Hill under 50 yards today. I mean, the guy was not terrible. He was not bad today. Like, the guy was, he had a couple opportunities. That guy is scary after the catch, and our defense did an absolutely incredible job. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. When that ball is in that man's hands, that guy is horrifying. The guy caught the ball 7 times. He caught the ball 7 times and was still under 50 yards. That is a massive win for the New York Jets defense, and that, based off of our Thursday conversation, locked him up. He was locked down. Tyreek Hill was not a problem today. Jalen Waddle was even less of a problem, 23 yards on 3 catches. Couldn't be happier with the secondary of the Jets today.
Well, you could make the argument that I was thinking 50 yards all purpose because the man had 60 yards if you were adding his rushing yards. He had 60. He had 47 receiving and 13 rushing. That is 60 yards. Okay. But I mean, we're excited, right? The Jets won, right? We beat the best team in the AFC, record wise. So I'm hyped. But I mean, Tyreek Hill did work. Now you could also say if you add the penalty yardage, because Tyreek drafted Drew
Yep.
two different DPIs. I mean, then the man's yardage is over 100. I mean, Tyreek Hill is definitely an elite receiver.
No
And
question.
to have him not, affect, because I went against him in fantasy, and I will not be lying. I'm wearing black pants right now because I was nervous. All right, if I wet myself, no one can see. I was nervous playing against Tyreek in fantasy, but you know what? Michael Carter outscored him because of what you just said, right? So the DPIs, right? They don't count in fantasy, but he definitely made his impact. As a matter of fact, without Tyreek Hill, this score might have been 63 to 3. Like Tyreek Hill, between him and Mostert were really their only lifelines. But if Tyreek wasn't there, I think we would have been stacking the box and Mostert wouldn't have even made an impact. And that is something that I want to hype up is this run D. Like literally our biggest weakness of last year has been cleaned up so well. We haven't even really had a bad rushing game, even with our, the defense not being that great against Cleveland and not being that great against Cincinnati. The rushing game didn't get out of whack. Yeah, Chubb had 3 TDs. He had 80 yards. That's the only game he's had 80 yards. What are you guys talking about? Like the rushing D has been so good. And this man, Quan Alexander, Tyreek, right? He had a couple carries, right? He had a couple screen passes. Once Quan hit him, that was the last time that Tyreek was even in the backfield. He was like, McDaniels, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Quan has been doing work. I mean, CJ Mosley was at the ball. Jordan Whitehead.
Great game. You had a great game.
I mean, this run D, the only person that I really saw kind of struggle in the run D, and I don't want to say it because I love him so much. He's in my Snap story every day or my IG story, whatever story you're looking at. Sauce Gardner, he was whiffing. He was whiffing a couple times. Now he obviously had probably the most influential play of the entire game. It was a safety and knocked Teddy out the whole game. Teddy played one play.
So I want to work with this here, Woody, because my question for you that I was just going to ask you was, what did you think of Sauce Gardner's play overall? I mean, obviously started hot with that safety. There was a few missed tackles. How would you break down Sauce Gardner's overall performance for the day?
If I'm Sauce's dad, I'm telling him he had a great game. He had a great game. If I'm his coach, I'm telling him he had a great game because he did. All right, his first career pick. All right, it's going to be his first of many. I remember I saw an interview, right? He was like, every DB, MC2, DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead, LaMarcus Jr., everyone had a pick besides him. He felt left out. Is he the worst out of them? He's not. We all know that. But he got his pick. He obviously had the game-breaking safety, the Teddy Bridgewater breaking. Forget about the game. He broke Teddy with that safety.
He broke the quarterback. He brought in number 3. Bring in number 3. We would have done the same thing against number 2, but we did it against number 3 because of Sauce.
Exactly. And he did have some good breakups, and that's a tall order. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Tyreek, he's not like just some fast dude. He's not Henry Ruggs. Like, he's not just some ordinary fast dude. This is one of the most elite weapons in all of football. He's been that way for years. He's succeeded with Alex Smith. He's succeeded with Mahomes. He's succeeding with Tua, who no one was thinking high of before this year. And, no matter who his quarterback was, he was going to be a problem, which he was very active today. But so Sauce, in his 5th NFL game to be matched up on him, for most of the game, anytime it was a man-to-man, it was Sauce and Tyreek, right? It wasn't DJ Reed. It was Sauce. And I feel like he held his own. He held his ground. There was the pass interference. Honestly, compared to some of the plays that we saw and some of the other DPIs that we saw, I don't think it was that egregious. He's actually very consistent. The way that Sauce plays is very consistent, and I love it. He actually reads the receiver to know where the ball is. He's not looking at the ball because his goal is to make sure that the catch is not made. So he's looking at the person who's trying to make the catch He's following their eyes, and he breaks it up. And
Mhm.
that's what he did with Tyreek as well. But I guess they argued he was handsy a little bit
I
before.
didn't like that call. I didn't like that call. That first one I thought was kind of nonsense. It could have gone
Yeah.
either way. I think they got it wrong.
But I mean, he was great. Now the run, the tackles that he missed, yeah, that sucks. But if the rest of the team is going to be as stout against the run as they are, then I literally do not care. Like, I don't care. Like, keep doing what you're doing. Keep locking down the number ones. Keep talking, chirping to the number ones. Get in their heads because you saw with Jamar Chase, he was frustrated. Keep doing all that, and then let the Quans, let CJ, all right, let Sheldon Rankins. I cannot believe I'm even saying that man's name, but he was in the backfield. Quinton. I mean, let them do their work, because when they're doing their thing and then Sauce and DJ are doing theirs, like, this defense, that's now 2 straight games of this defense being very good. And the difference between this week and last week is that this week there were no boneheaded penalties. Were there penalties that gave up yardage? Yeah, there were 3 DPIs. 2 of them, in my opinion, were bad calls. But there were no very late, quarterback hits, very late, face masks or taunting or anything stupid like that. There was none of that. No unnecessary roughness. As a matter of fact, we were the ones drawing it for once, right?
Mhm.
But we did not commit any of those. And that's why we gave up the least amount of points. It's not because of the third string QB. I know people, like you said, people are going to try to hammer that home and all that. No. The defense played a great game. I don't care who was behind center. Defense played a great game, and they finally were able to eliminate dumb penalties. The penalties that they got were debatable.
You're absolutely right. And let's take a look at this too, because I have said to you as well as to many people, my issue with Quinton Williams over the past few years. He was a 3rd overall pick. He was compared to Aaron Donald for many years, and Jets fans still, I'm sorry, for whatever reason, kept trying to make that comparison over the last few years. And it wasn't there. Like, if we're being honest, I love Quinton Williams. You cannot possibly find a bigger Quinton Williams fan than myself. But if we're being honest, he was, excuse me, don't make that face. I love Q. He was not the guy that we signed up for the first few years of his contract. And that's just honesty. And, I hate to say it, because I love him. I want him to succeed. He has not done what we signed him up to do until this season. And he has been playing so well. They only marked him down for half a sack in this game. I don't know how true that is. I'm looking at half a sack here. I thought I remember him getting a full sack, but obviously he recovered the fumble that Carl Lawson went and got.
And truck Tyreek Hill.
Truck Tyreek. He beat the crap out of him. Like, Quinton, and even in addition to all of that, like, there's things, and this is something that as a Jets fan you can relate to. The other Williams, Leonard Williams, I was a big fan of his back in the day, and we never really got to see him break out. And the coaching staff went and said he was doing exactly what we asked him to do, and it was a scheme thing, and the data, the stats won't defend it, but he's doing what we asked him to do. Then he goes to the Giants, and he does a lot more than we saw with him. But getting back to Q, Q, he is showing, like, it's 2 weeks straight here. Possibly 3, but I would give him at the very least 2 weeks of elite. Like, this is my defense. Ulbrich, frig off. Get these other guys going rushing the quarterback out of here. I got it. This is me. I got it. Like, it's the D-line. Like, I'm on the D-line. It's taken care of. Don't worry about it. Like, I love what he's done the past few weeks, really all season, but specifically the past 2-3 weeks. I think he's really excelled. I mean, this guy, it's not just with the sacks and the data. And this is why I brought up the Leonard Williams comparison, is that he's doing so much more than that. I mean, this guy's breaking through the line. He's putting pressure on the quarterback. He's getting tackles for losses. He's getting the running back, running in directions he's not supposed to be running, not in the designed, route he's supposed to be running, because Q was running through there and causing a problem. And you have to love that as a Jets fan, as a Quinton Williams fan, where I've never met a Jets fan that doesn't love Q. And if I did, I would leave them bleeding in the streets. due to my love for Q. And although I would hear some arguments and understand some historical arguments that they may have, they'd be left bleeding in the streets. The guy's a stud. He showed why. We picked him third overall multiple years ago, but today. And I love to see it. And that this defense came out to play. And we gave them a couple asks. We gave them a few asks that they really shouldn't have been in the position to fulfill, but they did. This offense was a little bit inconsistent again today. It was drive to drive. You know what I mean? Like there were some drives, and this is one of the things we talked about on Thursday, Woody, where it's like, this offense with the turnovers that we had and not putting touchdowns instead of field goals on the board or nothing on the board and taking a field goal. That was frustrating. But for us to go and have that in the first half and still put up 40, it's like, we were talking, Woody and I was actually talking to a couple of our very good friends and fans here. Neil, shout out to Neil, who hit us up on a direct message on Instagram. And he was like, we're going to lose this game. He said that I think it was about in the right going into the third quarter. And I was like, shit, we might. I was a little bit nervous because we've seen this. And that would have been, if we were to lose this game after how we started, that would have been the same old Jets argument. And I think we broke out of it. Neil and I continued speaking, and we were so excited to go and see what this team came out with in the second half. And this team is proving week after week, we do not give up. And that's something, Woody, you brought up. I think it was 2 weeks ago now. It's like, this team does not give up. The fourth quarter, we get all these points in the fourth quarter. Like you said last week, 5th overall in total points in the fourth quarter. Could not be happier with the execution with some asterisks. And we were able to pull it off, which is good, but still things to work with every one of the wins. Even with the 40 points on the board, there's still an asterisk and there's still some things we got to work on.
I mean, with 21 fourth quarter points, I think we might be a little bit higher than 5th. When we check the rankings again. I mean, we are a fourth quarter team. In that same group chat that Fitz was talking about, everybody was nervous. All right. We were all nervous. It was 19-17 going into the fourth. And I said, hey, this is the fourth quarter. Like that is actually a certainty. How long has it been since you could say something for certain with the New York Jets? But I was confident that the fourth quarter, this team always they just come alive, and that's exactly what happened. 21-0 in that quarter. What a quarter it was! But now there is one thing, because if you've watched this show for the 5 weeks that we've been having it, you know that one of us tends to be more positive than the other. So allow me to put on my hat by saying I actually do not think that Zach Wilson was that good this game. And it has nothing to do with the passing TDs, right? I mean, it just happened to be that most times we would, make a play where we were now within the, 5-yard line, and now we're rushing it. His scramble was spectacular.
Yeah.
You could talk about, exposing yourself to hits or, something like that, but like that is a play that, Josh Allen would make, that a true competitor would make. I loved that scramble. Here is why Zach Wilson's our best option at quarterback. When he is confident, right? He makes a read and is confident in that read. There is no better QB on our team at now delivering the ball, right? He makes the read, he sees it, boom, it's there. Now making the reads, I don't know. He has this 1-2, and like he says it, listen to the interviews, look at the plays, look at the breakdowns. He has those 1-2 reads. If those aren't there, he kind of gets a little flustered. A great example of that was actually the 3rd and 4 when we were a little bit outside of the end zone when we kicked the field goal. That 3rd and 4 there. That was a great example. He is obviously elusive. We know that. We saw it come to bite him when he got sacked for like 85 yards. It was more like 18. But we've seen it come to bite him. But it also seems to help, right? With like this with the TD scramble. But the best example I have of him when he is confident with the read versus Flacco or White or Strevler, God forbid, is that wheel route with Brees Hall. They had that same play happen in the Bengals, and Brees Hall literally had a touchdown. He had a touchdown, but Joe Flacco underthrew it so bad he had to turn around and then lean, and it was in the hands, but it was such a bad throw. He dropped it, and that was it. That was the end of the drive because it was the third down. Zach had the same read on the same route. It was the other side, right? And obviously the defense played it differently. So it actually wasn't as clear as it was in the Bengals. But Brees just turned on the Jets, and then excellent blocking by Barrios down the field turned that into a 79-yard gain. But that's what I mean, that if those first two options, like LaFleur draws it up, if one of those options are there, Zach's on the money. But if it isn't, then we get a little. I mean, the offense did not look good. It really didn't. They had some explosive plays, mostly by Brees Hall. But even Garrett Wilson had oh my God, beautiful. Looked like he was going to be tackled in 7 yards. And he just breaks out and gets an extra 7 to get the first down. Like, we have some great work from our playmakers, which is what we want, But I definitely wouldn't say Zach was great. And that's actually what I'm thinking. I'm putting that back to LaFleur, that he was putting us in a spot where those first two reads were there. When they weren't, Zach looked a little overwhelmed.
So that's fine, and I hear you on a lot of things that you say. Where I'm going to go and give a little bit of pushback here is Zach threw for 67% today, and the last time I checked, that's a number you like a lot. And the last time I checked, if we're being honest, I mean, let's take a look at this. What Mike LaFleur did tremendously last season, what he did very good after he got good after week 4 or 5, was because he was terrible last year as he started this year. What he did good when he got into this groove was he was going and playing off the energy on the field. Brees Hall is a special being. That guy is sick. He's not human, maybe. But what made this game plan work so well is that we didn't need to rely on Zach too much. We didn't need to go and have him throw it any more than 21 times to go and get a win. We didn't need to go and do anything too crazy. So where I would disagree about the Zach Wilson statement that you made, I think he did play very well today. There was 2 throws specifically that came up for me that I think were underthrown, horrible. He had time, no excuse, and that's okay. If we only have 2 per game, and this is what I saw, there might be more or less. What I saw, there was 2 where he was open. He was out of the pocket, run to the sidelines, and Conklin was open, threw it at his feet, and then I think it was Corey Davis was wide open in the end zone. We did end up getting that touchdown, I believe. No, we got a field goal that possession. There was one that Corey Davis was wide open that we did not hit him for. But at the end of the day, Zach Wilson threw for 67%. Brees Hall ran the ball 18 times. He caught the ball twice for 100 yards because he was doing so well. And I think if he wasn't doing so well, if we did not have these numbers, if Brees Hall did not show up today, we would have had a lot more opportunities for Zach. And this is where, again, I've kind of gone back and forth where I got some Mike LaFleur love, I got some Mike LaFleur hate. And I will stand by that, where I think he is just as bipolar as I am, where it's just like, is he going to show up and do what he did today, which I think he did tremendously, where it was, who's the hot hand? Give that boy the ball. If that guy's hot, Brees Hall was hot today. Michael Carter, not super hot today, but he had 2 touchdowns. He was situationally great, getting 2 touchdowns, being able to punch it in. But he only ran for 2 yards per carry. Brees Hall ran 18 times for 5.4 yards per carry. I mean, that is tremendous production. So I do give LaFleur a lot of credit on that in going with the hot hand, seeing who's playing well, and letting him feed the ball. And this is why I'm getting back to why I was so upset with him the 2 losses that we had this year, where he did not do that. We had a backup quarterback, and he did not do that. Week 1, Brees Hall had, I think, just about the same yards per carry. MC and Brees both had, I think, 4 to 5, almost 6 yards per carry. And we did not have enough opportunities with them. They were single digit opportunities. And now when Zach, our QB1, comes back, we're handing the ball off 28 times between our 2 running backs. We could easily be 4-1. Look at what the Giants have done. The Giants, I think they kind of stink. I don't think they're too bad. Relative to the talent on the field, I'm not going to say they're bad because I think Daboll is tremendous. He was probably every Jets fan's number 2 option, maybe number 1 option for who would be the head coach for the Jets when we were searching before last season. That guy knows what he's doing, and he's maximizing the talent in that field. And to go and look at a team where they did not have Galladay, bad signing, or Kadarius Toney, good kid, but kind of a psycho. They were still able to win that game against the Packers, who we have next week. And I think it's important that we compare what our OC and our offense is doing to the rest of the league. We got the Packers next week. And if we do this same thing and we were able to emulate the maximizing the hot hands as we did today, going into Lambeau, I think we're going to have some good success there. But that's going to be that analysis is safe for Thursday. Until then, we can only be happy with a New York Jets win. But Mike LaFleur, I think he needs to keep on building. He's not in the doghouse. He's not by any means in the Mike La ceiling, in the Mike La basement. But I would not quite put him in the Mike La ceiling just yet. I think he's close. I think he's in the second floor. He's in the second floor, but I don't think he's in the Mike La ceiling just yet. I think there's a few plays that we had that we could have done better. But maximizing hot hands was a good thing to see.
Yeah, definitely maximizing hot hands. I mean, I've been a fan of LaFleur's play calling pretty much all year. I mean, the running and passing discrepancy is definitely egregious. I still don't know. I don't know, like, what really went down there. But just comparing that play and the Brees Hall throws, I feel like it just shows me the difference between having QB1 and QB2 out there. Because Flacco, that could have changed the game back then as well. But I mean, we got to be happy. There's nothing. I mean, with all those streaks, right? And I said I was going to name my next kid Saleh. There were additional streaks, like the 62 straight games. That's pretty much 4 seasons, right, without scoring 40. Right now I need to give my kid a middle name that has maybe Robert, maybe Salah Robert Wudi. I don't know. Like, there has to be something, because what they did, all right, they're not the same old Jets. All right. Now these Sundays, they do mean a lot more. So I don't want to, preview, like you said, we don't want to step on the toes of the next show. So there's one more question. It's kind of a 2-parter. All right. Offensive and defensive game ball. I'm going to give my offensive game ball. This actually might be an easy pick because Brees Hall had damn near 200 yards.
I think both are kind of easy, but I want to hear yours.
And yeah, Brees was unbelievable. My defensive game ball, I'm going to name my top 4 before picking my number 1. Quinnen was obviously in the backfield. You already talked about him beautifully with all the different things he did. It did look like he had a full sack. I think somebody touched Skyler,
touched him, yeah.
And like Skyler broke out, and then Quinnen, smacked him. Michael Carter II, I think they blatantly disrespected him on that Waddle DPI. That was not DPI.
Nonsense.
Like, that was great play. And then he had another great play after that. He was active in both the run game and the passing game. I think Michael Carter, all's made of Max Mitchell and what he's done. Michael Carter II, I mean, he's one of the best value draft picks of Joe Douglas's tenure.
No question.
For sure. Sauce, okay, with his first career pick. All right. And then, everything. First career pick, the safety, taking Teddy out the game. Okay. And then the number 4 is Quan Alexander. This man. Oh my God. I feel bad because I feel like we're robbing him. Like we're only giving him a mil. We're giving him like the vets minimum, and he is one of the most impact players on the entire defense. We all know, like even like my wife, right? She don't follow, everything, but she knows when Quan hits somebody because it's just different.
You
It
hear
looks
it. You
different.
hear it.
Yeah, you hear it
Yep.
for real. She could be in the other room, making pizza bagels, and she's like, "Oh, did Quan just get that hit?" Like, it's unbelievable. But of those four, I'm gonna give it to Sauce. I'm gonna give it to Sauce because he was on the stat sheet. I'm giving it to two rookies, the game ball, and that just shows you if there's any doubt, because everybody always says, Joe Douglas, he had a good draft, on paper. This 2020 draft, 5 games in, throw out the paper. This was a masterful draft. I'm giving both rookies, Sauce and Brees Hall, the game balls.
So I'm going to go and answer this question in the way where I'm not allowed to pick who you picked. I think Brees Hall is an obvious MVP for the offense. So I'm going to go and move from there and go and say I'm giving it to Zach Wilson. I think Zach was great. Brees Hall was obviously the stud of this offense. I mean, this guy was the leader of this offense. And to see a young kid, to see a young team on this offense go and play as well as they did today was very nice. But Zach reached that 66% or 67% completion percentage we were looking for. No interceptions, no fumbles. There was definitely a couple mistakes, but considering the weapons that we have around him and the health that we've been lucky enough to go in the last 5 weeks with on this offense, when it comes to the position players, not the offensive line, the offensive line's on the conversation. But for our position players, our wide receivers and running backs to stay healthy 5 weeks in and Zach to find them 67% of the time, I love to see that. So I'm going to take Zach Wilson for the offense. And for the defense, I'm going to take Quentin Williams. And Quentin Williams, I love this man. And I've said this since day one. I love this man. I really do. I think I've been disappointed with a lot of his play the first few years. But today he was disrupting the D-line every time he was on the field. And this is why, us as Jets fans were so disappointed in Ulbrich and some of the schemes that he put together where he was not in the field enough, the first 4 games. Every time Quentin Williams was on that field, every time you saw a 9.5, you weren't worried. And I think that's a beautiful way to go and capitalize on you being the 3rd overall pick and really go and earn your keep. And I think he was tremendous. The only reason why, honestly, I would have taken Brees Hall for the offense, but you took him. Defense, I would have taken Quentin out anyway, even if you took Sauce. The only reason why I say that is, a couple missed open field tackles by Sauce. You had the pass interference, which I disagreed with. I think that was a bad call. So I'm going to go and be a little bit lighter on him for that. But Quentin was, this guy, when he's on the field, this guy's a problem. And he is making this leap this year that, it's so nice to see. And I think it's not only because he's gotten better. I think he's put the work in. He is one that work ethic-wise, I ain't worried about nothing. I Becton, we've all had conversations. Is he in it? Is he not? And that's something that we can't figure out today. But what we can see today was Quentin Williams showed up and he was prepared to go and play football today. And he obviously had Carl Lawson get a sack today, which helped him out. He had a tremendous Sheldon Rankins had a great play today. So he is finally, this year, he's got some pieces around him. It's not just Quentin Williams versus the offensive line of the opposing team anymore. And that's what it kind of was the first few years, which is why I'm nice on him, or I think forgiving for him for not performing the first few years. But love to see it. Jets won 40-17 today. So, whoever gets the game balls doesn't matter. This is one of those things I was talking to a couple of my friends. Oh, are they going to get the spread or not? They're going to get – I don't give a crap about the spread. Give me a W. I had the spread at 7 points. I'm glad it hit. But at the end of the day, the Jets won. They won definitively today because of great play calling in the second half and just tremendous execution. And Woody – I teared up a little bit at one point in this game. And I'm not going to admit – I admitted on the internet. I said on the internet, I did tear up. When was This was something special today. And I don't want to take away, like we're naming all these players that played well. The team as a whole came together so well. 40-17, like you said, first, game we've won in division in 12 games. First time we've beat a team by over 2 scores. And how many games you had that data?
11 wins, but since 2019.
How good? Like, if you're a Jets fan, you're happy. And now we're going into Green Bay, who is, and I'm not going to go and ruin that whole Thursday episode, but we're going into Green Bay. I will be there. I would love for my co-host to join me. But we're going to Green Bay against a team that just played in London, and the Giants just beat them. I'm sorry. A little sneak peek into Thursday. Plug back in on Thursday. Jets W. We're going 3 in a row. I'm calling it. Woody, what do you got to close us out?
I'll say this because with your tiers and the team coming together. One thing that I did note coming into week 1 that I haven't said since is that this team actually leads the NFL in first round picks on the roster. We have the most first round picks on the roster. Now we know that not all first round picks are created equal, right? There's a sauce, right? Or, Garrett Wilson, people who are coming in and are immediate, impact players versus a Corey Davis, who was the 5th overall pick in his draft and has really never lived up to that billing. But the best thing about having all those first round picks is that all first round picks have a few traits in common, right? You're not a first round pick by accident, right? Mm-hmm. You can only be a second round pick by accident, like Christian Hackenberg. But everybody, the first round picks, those are on purpose, right? Because they have a certain floor of talent and ability. And to have somebody like Corey, who now older, wiser, can help people like Garrett, and then same thing with Quan and Solomon Thomas, right, who are first rounders who didn't exactly meet the billing, help people like Quinnen and Jermaine. Like, that is the team camaraderie that I think we're seeing that means so much. And then that all just gets exponentially increased when you just have dogs like a DJ Reed, who actually is a leader, that you always see in the huddle, like giving the speeches on the team. So we have a lot of talented guys, a lot of players with natural ability, more so than literally any other team in the league. First round draft picks. But with good coaching and with good leadership, that talent turns to production. And this week was the greatest show of that concept that we have seen to date. And I cannot wait to see what we see for the rest of the year. It's time to take flight.
Woody, I cannot possibly have said that better. That was a gorgeous close to the show today. Everyone, thank you so much for plugging in. Thank you so much for showing up and listening to the data that Woody shared with us to start the show off, because that was something that was such a problem for us. That data led to the feeling that we've all had of just disappointment and just like, we can't win a game against a team in our own division. We can't win a game definitively for how long? So Woody broke that out tremendously. So everybody, give us some likes on the internet because of Woody's tremendous breakdowns today. I've been doing a little bit of drinking, so give us some dislikes because of me. Love you guys all so much. Woody, thank you so much for breaking that down again today, and catch us on Thursday. Take Flight Talk. We out.